Welcome, friends. I'm Tonya Long, and this is Reset. Each week, we share conversations with thought leaders, innovators, and the dreamers and doers who are reshaping the future of work, technology, longevity, and purpose. So settle in and let's explore what happens when purpose meets possibility. Hello, everyone. This is Tonya Long. Welcome to Reset with Tonya. And today in the studio here in beautiful, blue, sunny Los Gatos, we have my good friend, Reena Miglani. Reena and I, we are heart connected. We are mama's girls. I met Reena's mother, who is 82, at an event and just fell in love with her mama and have known Reena for a few years now. We were part of a women's networking organization, and the first time I met Reena, we were at B News at a Christmas party. And at that time, Reena was a big-time executive in a huge company here in the Bay Area. But Reena knew that she had her own reset coming.
Yeah.
She understood that. She was looking at what that looked like, and Reena and I went through those transitions together. I remember being on camping trips, driving and talking with you about some of the opportunities she looked at. But in the end, I think Reena followed her heart. She opened up the most exquisite restaurant. So remember, think about this. Big sales executive for Oracle, because we'll wind up saying it during the fall. And then transitioned to creating experiences for people to create memories, for people to receive comfort. And it's just of the most, Amara is the most lovely. There are two other restaurants in your family that are in their own right, beautiful and elegant. But Amara is just, there's nothing quite like it. So,
thank you.
Reena, welcome to Reset with Tonya.
Thank you. Thank you. So excited to be here. Thanks for the opportunity. Early in the morning and talking about myself.
I don't care what time of day it is. You are not much good at talking about yourself. So we're going to have to ask some questions. You juiced and coffeeed up.
So I've been more than 2 decades a Bay Area resident.
Yeah.
Definitely feel every morning when I get up and see the beautiful California skies, I feel so blessed. Then I forget about how much the property costs here or anything else, but it's just so beautiful. And we're lucky to be here. We also live a very hurried life. We built so much in Silicon Valley. And it comes with its own stress. And I lived through that working in corporate career. And when I got the chance to reset and transition out of it, I wanted to build a space where we can all slow down. Not one day when you're on a vacation in Europe, but perhaps a few times in the week. And that's why I built Amara, and we'll talk more about it. But it's, as I like to tell people, it's little paradise found in the Bay Area, but not for someday, but for every day.
But for every day. When you say paradise, I think of my time there. You have these lush gardens that are adjacent to the restaurant, which can accommodate people. When I think of paradise, typically I think most people are conditioned to think about palm trees and flowing water, beautiful blooms, and you incorporated all of that into the design of that space. You've done a lot of design.
It was actually quite interesting from looking at software UX to transitioning into designing a big space. Amara's a large restaurant with our indoor space, almost 7,000 to 8,000 square feet. And when we took over the space, it was a large space. And when I would close my eyes, I'm not a designer. I didn't go to interior design school. So I really don't know how to do renditions, but it was all in my brain, all the sketching and everything. And I was envisioning a space that without saying anything to anyone, when you enter the space, you come in stressed or there's 10 things, 100 things on your mind, but somehow the sensory experience just lets your shoulders drop and you feel like you've transitioned into a different space. And how do I do that? And how do I take this big space, keep the vastness, keep the openness, but still create intimacy? And that's where my design process came in, that you have different nooks. You build the space in a way where you treat every area with slightly different textures and colors. And the all those are sensory experiences which you don't really need to spell out, but it connects with you when you walk in. So Amara, where it is situated, it's not on a busy street. It's actually in a strip mall, which is great because you don't have to worry about parking. And when you walk in, nobody's expecting it to be the way it is. It's a beautiful space, open on three sides, overlooking the garden.
Glass.
Lots of glass,
in the
right?
perimeter.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then you get hit you smell something beautiful because we have a custom scent for Amara.
Have you started making my candles yet?
Hopefully soon with the
Okay.
holidays coming. And
Nice.
so you get that. Then you got the lighting. So visually, and you're smelling this, and then you get seated in one of those beautiful nooks and start to see the different textures with marble and leather and beautiful furnishings and
Straight patterns.
yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly. And so you get hit with all these senses, and then you start to interact with our wonderful, hospitable team members that really believe in hospitality, that love what they do, that elevates your experience. It's approachable, it's not ostentatious. It's really connecting human to human. And these wonderful people, they will make you feel like you belong. They will make you feel that they care about how your day is going, what you feel is going to nourish you today, and they'll make the right recommendations. It's not about upsells. It's not about making you eat the special of the day. It's really an authentic human interaction. So with all of that, I hear from people, hey, what have you built here? I came in feeling one way and now I'm so relaxed. And that's just music to my ears. That's why we built it. Yes.
When I remember the night I was there for dinner with you and I watched your patrons, and there was a couple near us, looked like they were on a date, adults our age. And then there was a loud group down the corner celebrating a birthday or an anniversary. And it just felt like a really high-end, exquisite neighborhood experience.
Yes. Yes.
It's not pretentious at all. And so I think you've designed it for people to want to bring people there for special occasions, for gathering in community, want to do self-care. I think being in small communities is self-care. Your most intimate, close friends.
All right. And as I would say that not just about how you feel, but Amara is also about self-care. So one of the things that I'm a big proponent of is, yes, you can go and achieve, but if you can find a time in your day to slow down, that really helps your nervous system. That really helps your brain, your mental health, your physical health. And that's why I built this space. I consider Amara almost like Cheers of Belmont surrounding area.
Brighter.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely a little bit brighter, but a place where when you come in, they know your name, and that we really strive for that. And of course, we use good CRM systems to bring in that digital technology to help with that, but definitely want you to feel that you belong. And we are farm to table. We go to the local farmers market. We work with the local San Mateo County farmers. So it's also about nourishing. And sometimes people might come back and say, hey, it's expensive, but we are really sourcing high quality ingredients. And for me, it's about everybody's, as we're getting older, eating less and less, but why not eat really high quality ingredients? Because that's really going to help nourish your body and your soul. So, yeah.
This was a transition for you. 2 years ago? I think it's been a year, but 2 years ago, you were in the middle of the reset.
You're right.
I see that you brought your personal values to this. What did you bring in terms of values that you learned in your 20 years ago? Because I'm sure there has to be, and not just tech. You just mentioned that you have a CRM. So restaurants with a CRM, that's clearly from your tech leaning back. You want to be able to track, better service your customers. But what other values do you think that you brought that make you as a restaurateur unique because of the journey that you had before?
I would say the biggest thing that I bring is quick experimentations that we do in tech. Quick experiment and fail, try something new. So bringing that agility, I would say, is one of the biggest lessons that I brought from how tech founders work, whether you're a large company that's still innovative or a new founder, how you quickly experiment, see how things are working, and the ability to pivot. That would be a big lesson that I brought from there in terms of building things.
I imagine your staff loves that because they don't get stuck into something that's because it was your baby. We've all seen that. We've all seen that in certain leaders. But this is my idea. So wedded to people who can't experiment with things and try things on when it doesn't work. I think people like working in those environments because they get to be part of trying and trying to make it work.
And then some little bit more around process probably.
Okay.
If you have a big party, I don't want it in people's heads last minute to stress. So if it's going to be a big banquet or a raw bar, okay, this dish is going to be plated here. Let's quickly even use ChatGPT and create a little table setting rendered so nobody is confused. Everybody's on the same page. So just bringing some of that.
It's thoughtfulness and organizational detail. You reached out to me a couple of days ago because I have an event at Amara next week, but you reached out to me ahead of time to check my intentions, what they would want to eat, those kinds of things. And then you took the burden off me because I don't care what they eat. And you recommended, how about if we do this?
Right.
That's taken care of a full week before anyone in my party arrives at your door. I think that level of organizational detail and not leaving things to chance. And me as a meeting leader, not having to get there and be bothered by, do we want this versus that? And then asking people when it comes to you, it allows your guests to focus on why they're there, to spend time with each other.
And it's been really fun doing that because we've done some really interesting events or with local tech companies doing their board meetings.
Yeah.
And you can see the stress that the executive admins have. They carry so much burden and everything needs to be flawless and they are reporting to high achievers.
Yes,
so
of course.
Our team takes off a lot of that burden off them. And once they've done an event with us, they're like, wow, you all know what wine to recommend, what food my team will. If somebody comes up with a last minute request, you take care of it. I like that because it not only gives joy to the people that are eating there, but the organizers too, because
they feel responsible.
Right.
I think that's
because when
everybody wants purpose. Right? They're not just schlepping food. They are curating and experiencing. Well, their work is elevated. I love it. So you had a 20-year career at Oracle. So that's a big pivot and a reset from large enterprise tech to small, intimate hospitality. On that journey, how did you start to realize that this amazing 20-year career was not serving you anymore? What was your process in recognizing you wanted to make a transition and starting to do that?
I would say multiple things led me to this. Earlier in my career, I worked really hard and at least I was always looking for doing my best and giving more than 200%. And I ended up in a place where my body told me, you need to sleep, you need to take better care of yourself. And around 2018, I got really sick. And my body forced me to take time off. Once I started resting a little bit, I had to take a few weeks off from work. Nobody told me this is what a burnout is. Once I could get back online, I researched and I found out, oh my God, this is what a burnout is. My doctor didn't tell me. They're sending me to physical therapy, this, that. I actually ended up finding a chiropractor that is focused on neurology. And he helped me heal and gave me practices. So even I know now when I'm like just doing too much, how to reset, take a break. So that, and then once I became an empty nester and then COVID, I think all of those things gave me time to reflect. And at this point, somehow my husband Ajay and I reached a consensus that we were younger parents. We were in grad school when we had our first child. We've done so much, run. Not that running 3 restaurants slows you down, but maybe we'll run together. So we decided to make this move to work together and do this. But with this transition, I had to learn something really different, which is being an entrepreneur and working for yourself. You don't have a boss. And though in corporate, I worked harder than what was expected of me, all of a sudden, you needed to be accountable to yourself. And that was a different way of thinking, a mind shift where I can work 24 hours or I can work 2 hours. Nobody's going to question me. How do I find that motivation every day? And I think took me some time to find that balance.
What I see and have personally when we move into entrepreneurship is we don't have the forces pulling. We don't have the pulling us into things. So our lives were set. Our lives were dictated by sales kickoff, a big user conference with 10,000 people. And then in between were all the product roles. And for me, I led products and you led sales, but we still are focused on what's coming out. What do we need to do?
Yeah.
I built it. You communicated it with customers. And when you move into entrepreneurship, you don't have those cadences that you're moving toward. All about what you want to move toward. People think that's like freedom. For me, it wasn't, because I couldn't just grab 5 people into a conference room, go through some ideas, whiteboard it, get validation. And validation is motivation, and then go do things. It was very different, relying only on myself.
Totally agree. Yes.
It's harder.
Yeah.
I think it's harder because you don't have those resources, people to collaborate with. And I still miss them. I think the communities that we are involved in have found you in different ways to collaborate.
Yeah.
I know you and I've had a few conversations about Amara when you were thinking about new ideas for service.
Yeah.
And I've talked about my different pieces of the journey with you as I've moved along. But I think we found new ways of getting that motivation structure.
Right.
As we continue, I'm going to step away to do a quick station ID. You are listening to KPCR LP 92.9 FM out of Los Gatos and KMRT LP 101.9 FM out of Santa Cruz. And we have a giveaway for Supervillains on August 22nd. Supervillains is reggae. Now, I don't know any superheroes that played reggae, but we have supervillains doing reggae grooves in the forest. So if you join the Signal Society at kpcr.org/join, you can join our Signal Society and register for a chance to win tickets. And we will announce the winners a couple of days before on August 20th. So thank you for being with us. And this is Tonya here with Reena Miglani, the restaurateur and hospitality guru of Amara Restaurants. So Reena, family is super important to you. And I mentioned as we started that I had met your mother, and you are a mother. And I think those are important attributes that you bring to how you show up. It makes you a natural, nurturing person. How have you used those assets of yours? How do you see those assets showing up and how you lead?
It's interesting that you call it as an asset. I don't even consider that a liability or an asset. It's what you grow into, and as a mother, you learn so much intuitively when to step back and when to discipline, when to totally let somebody fail.
It's a choice.
Yes. And I think that's something that as leaders, it helped me grow as a leader. It's something that I won't even say use. It was just who I was when I was leading big teams during my tech career. And it naturally comes in when I am now where I am. And now that I'm older, I'm working with, so I have one kid who's my older daughter who's a millennial, the younger one, Gen Z. And I would say 90% of my staff in my restaurants, they fall in that category. So I can totally see, oh, they're saying this, but I know what's going on, what's behind the veil.
So it's maybe made you more relatable, if you will, to the
Yeah,
teams.
exactly. And some of them just relate to me as mom because they're maybe away from their parents. So they actually literally, some of them say, "Hey, mom," like when no guests are around. So it's nice. It's nice. My kids are away too, so I don't mind having kids calling me that. There's a guy in the kitchen. His name is Jonathan. We call him Johnny, and sometimes I'll say, "Hey, Johnny," and he goes, "Yes, mama."
That's
Going to the nursery rhymes.
yes.
I think it just makes for a close knit family at work, and we all uplift each other, and there is no relationship where you're the boss or whatever. Just all are working towards the same goals to make this successful, make every customer interaction, every customer happy. And
Based on my limited in the restaurant, I also saw, and I think this comes from both mothering and leadership, formal leadership. I saw you growing people, saw you actively consider who you were speaking with, what you were asking of them, and you were teaching and growing them into more understanding. And it was unique, whether it was your sommelier or the person who was taking care of our table. I saw you approach them differently, I think with a mindset on how to help them grow. And that you definitely pull from your corporate career. And you do it with a maternal element to you that I think makes it a very enjoyable experience to be on your teams.
Thank you. Thanks for noticing that, because as I said, I'm not actively trying. Probably it becomes second nature.
We're very lucky because a lot of us have to work on it. We really have to work at it. It's not inauthentic. And to your point earlier about how busy we all get, I know the busier I am, the less time I'm able to take for people, the less time I have to give to the nurturing process. And I have to consistently remind myself to slow down so that I can, because at the end of the day, it's about the people, not serving the people.
You're right.
Both your client people or employee people. Then you're not going to move forward. We know this.
Then even just cooking personally for yourself when you're in a bad mood, the same simple sandwich is not going to taste good.
We've talked about that.
Right. So I want to make
Happy
sure
people make better tasting meals.
Yeah. So whether it's meals or writing software, it's so important that as leaders, whatever you're suffering from in your mind or in your body, you gotta leave that. When you show up, it's curtains up time, and the energy you bring, it's going to either permeate and uplift everyone. You are down, you bring negativity, it's actually going to multiply and bring everybody further down. Then what's going to happen to the product? Whether it's food or code or selling or whatever, it's going to suffer. So being a leader comes with that responsibility. And I guess I've been in leadership roles for so long. Now it's become second nature, but something I had to learn. And I actually just saw an article in Harvard Business Review, something talking about that as leaders, the energy that we bring, the positivity is one of the most important things that we can do for a team.
Yeah, and you and I have been around a lot to see.
Right.
Negativity, the inability to make people happy. And it's a chore to be in those environments. We've seen the impact. So we value creating environments. People want to show up and do their best work.
Exactly. Right. And you can be a leader without, you got to let go of your ego. I think that's the other important thing. Because when you let go of the ego, you're able to learn so much from others.
Yes.
And then you don't have the need to be always. So you actually multiply the intellect on your teams, because people are then not afraid to give suggestions. Or, as I said, do small experiments and fail because you've provided the space. And that happens when you let go of your ego and thinking that my idea is always the best. So this little...
I love it. I think what you just said is gold. It really is gold. This concept of letting go of ego, use that for just a moment. I talk to a lot of people who are suffering. That's a strong word. But they're suffering from the loss of status when they moved down from a big corporate role, being a consultant. And they had all the reasons in the world for choosing to make that reset. But it's easy to miss being on the main stage, right? What was that like for you? And how did you manage the change in status, the shift in maybe the way you show up with how people identify you by where you work and what you do, and they declare their value of you based on that? How did you manage that coming out of Oracle to Amara?
Need to give it a little bit thought. I would say I do tell people that I was lucky because I had the support of my family. And sometimes corporate is your identity. And that's, if people don't see that, you don't know what identity you hold. But I think my kids and my husband really supported me through the transition. And that really helped because I saw that I still have 70% of the other identities that are so much more important. You have a corporate career, but at the end of the day, everybody goes to earn money so they can raise their family. I think that's the most important thing, that if you lose that part, then that's different. But that was always important to me because my family validated who I am outside of corporate. I think that was very helpful.
Yeah.
And then I did have a launching pad with our existing businesses to bring that goodwill, that name, that Michelin credits to this new strong rebuild. So I would say it's not easy for everybody, but maybe I was lucky to have that foundation. And then you do struggle with stuff. It's not all hunky-dory. First of all, how do you work as an entrepreneur? I touched on that earlier. Even today, sometimes you might approach some guests and you can tell instinctively that they think of, oh, this is somebody in hospitality. You're talking about such important things. So this AI and that AI. And when I hear that, I know what you're talking about. I come from tech. And not that you have to be from tech to know what AI is. I know plenty of small businesses that are using AI very well.
Truly.
But I think there's a little sense of elitism when you work in corporate.
There is.
And from my own experience, I feel let go of that, because when you are even a small business owner, you actually own your destiny. Your destiny is owned by, on a spreadsheet. Tomorrow you are out of budget for somebody and it can change. So I don't know why people build their identities just around that and forget that other people are important or as smart or bring some other smarts. But as I was going back to what I was saying, that you'll approach some guests and you can feel that intellectual elitism where you can tell they think that, oh, this is somebody who's not so smart. So yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah, go get me this thing and please get out of my way. You're not important enough to talk to. But I guess with years of experience, as you're older, you go like that. It almost makes me chuckle inside that why are we building ourselves to be better than somebody else?
Probably age. It's probably internal confidence that continues to gain in wisdom. But for me, when I run into those situations, I'm absolutely confident those people don't matter to my future. So the people who would behave in that manner are, well, let me take care of what they need. But I don't need to convert everyone into understanding my inherent value.
I need some people like that for my internal comedy so I can laugh. That's a little chuckle.
Now, I'll tell you what I saw in you as we do that journey because you didn't immediately make the decision to go into restaurant.
Yeah.
What was it, maybe 6 or 8 months. But what I saw was I really saw you lean into the creativity you were going to get to do this design and build. Yes, your family had other restaurant roots, but this was yours. I don't want to call it a project because that minimizes it. But I saw when you made your pivot, when you made the decision, I saw how much joy you had in being refreshed by doing something new.
Yeah.
And that's what I take away from your experience on behalf of others, because it goes back to that mindset thing. You leaned into what you get to do instead of what you weren't showing up for.
Right.
And I think that made, and just like your examples of happy people make tastier food, you were really happy doing the work, build it, and it shows.
Right.
And all the care comes from how you feel when you walk into
Right.
Amara.
Definitely. No, I totally agree. And probably I grew some other brain cells in some other part of my brain, which
What
is
did
nice.
you learn that was new that surprised you?
Being able to design something like that. And and both my kids are in creative fields. And I used to wonder, where did they get that from? And now I know there is that dormant creativity that laid in there, but probably due to the pressures that my husband and I grew up with, that there's certain careers that you kind of gravitate.
Expectations.
Yeah, you are supposed to pursue, and that's what success means. So I think I'm glad that I later on in life got to try that. And now I'm really excited about the journey of launching Amara to now what we want to build it to be a community space. I'm really leaning into events that resonate with a different age group. That's like the next chapter. Next 6 months will be focusing on that. We started with some live music. We're starting with some art classes. I really want to build
At Amara?
Yes.
Art classes?
Yes.
Fascinating.
Yes. The first one is coming up, calligraphy, and you sip wine and you meet other women. Men are welcome too, but
Wow. Okay. And your live music, what kind of music?
so we started with once a week, bringing in DJs. Again, different music, because I feel that one should just enjoy life and not just be stuck in the 80s music just
Right.
because I'm Gen X and all that. So we're doing things across the board. I'm bringing in a couple of weeks, DJ that plays Afro funk, Arabic music.
Okay. So I was expecting acoustic, a guitar in the corner, or jazz. And
We
so
are going to
this
do
is
jazz. I'm planning to do jazz brunches, but I want to help our local jazz bands at our high schools. So I'm going to bring local high school bands, bring them in, and then makes donation to them. They come to play. The neighborhood shows up, and then we give part of the proceeds from that day to them. That's coming too, but slowly building that. We're starting with the Friday night DJ. So as I mentioned, we've got an Afro funk, Arabic music. We've got EDM. We've
Oh,
got,
wow.
yes,
Okay.
Latin, actually a Spaniard who's playing Latin beats. So all different kind of
Your
stuff.
daughters may have had something to do with these playlists.
I know a lot about music too. In fact, some of my staff members go, "Oh, how do you know this artist?" I'm like, I'm not dead yet.
I love it.
I like to listen to current music. I'm not stuck just in my 80s.
80s, not age, 80s music.
Exactly.
I grew up on 80s music too.
And I
so
love it.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. We're going to do a quick radio station ID. You're listening to Pirate Cat Radio, KPCRLP, 92.9 FM out of Los Gatos, and KMRT LP 101.9 FM out of Santa Cruz. We also have a new itty bitty baby station, and I shouldn't say it that way, but I'm just so enamored with it. We've opened a station in Portland, as in Oregon. So we have a brand new station, KBBE LP 91.1 FM. If you're up in Portland, we're happy to have you today. Back to Reset with Tonya, featuring Reena Miglani. I got to come up with a snazzier description for you. Restaurateur, hospitality guru, and happy pivoter, because I think that you have reinvented yourself. When you think about the work you were doing in 2015 versus the work you're doing in 2010 is not anything you would have probably forecasted. So that reinvention process, what did you learn that, how do I say this and be, I want to know what you wish you hadn't had to learn. What was the hardest learning for you in reinventing this new era of Reena?
You've asked me the toughest question because I'm such a glass half full person.
And I'm not inviting you to be negative.
Yeah.
That's a good call out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I will simmer in
there are things
negativity sometimes.
Figure it out
Yeah.
about yourself,
No, as I said, I will simmer in some negativity.
but you don't.
But then, like, in a few hours, I'm like, yeah, just move on. Yes. Yeah, exactly. there's things to worry about. I always say that I have a lovely home. I live in California as I started out earlier. I have 25 chefs on my beck and call. I can eat the fanciest food to the simplest meal I want. What's there to worry about?
But like I've learned
Yeah.
that I derive more value out of my quiet time, working, processing time than I thought I did. I'm a pretty strong extrovert, but I've learned that there's a lot of my thinking happens with just me and in the silence of my home office. So that's something that is very different than my operational personality in corporate. So that was for me as my reinvention occurred. I became a lot more introspective.
So I would say some things haven't changed because in my corporate career, it was you're interacting, especially in sales and supporting large global teams. We're always talking on the phone, on the Zoom. So for me, my deep thinking was always late night. That's why I sleep very little. And now I'm used to it. If I sleep more than 6 hours for 2 nights in a row, then I'm up at 3 a.m. But which is fine.
What's causing that? Okay. I should know. Good to know.
But definitely my deep thinking still happens at night. That's just how I think. But one thing that I've come to realize is I don't try to drive myself with my task list or a daily task list. I build a broader horizon, maybe weekly, like a monthly horizon and a weekly horizon.
Focus on strategic.
And then I kind of work based on my energy. So now, different than corporate, my Saturdays and Sundays are not off because that's when the whole world's going out to have fun. So as restaurateur, you're working. So my days off are on Monday. But then in the beginning, when I was taking my Mondays off, people are on my different technology partnerships that I have. They want to meet on Monday. And I was booking my Mondays. And then that was supposed to be my day off.
That's
then I was
learning.
waking.
Yeah.
And then my Tuesday is my Monday. Then I was waking up really tired because I didn't give myself a chance to refresh. So I needed to block Mondays off. Now I realize Tuesday morning is my Monday morning. So I take it slow. I removed all my meetings I had my management meeting set up for Tuesday morning. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So I think because I'm my own boss, I've learned to also manage my energy better and then align my energy to what I need to do and figure out what days work better, what hours work better for what kind of tasks for me.
11. We keep unintentionally dancing around this notion of being overscheduled, overstimulated. What do you think you've learned coming from hyperdrive tech enterprise to modeling for what you want, the environment you want to create, slower, more intentional? What have you learned that you think would be good advice for people who are looking to make the same shift?
So as I touched upon energy, I think when you start realizing your own energy and how you feel, and then at least be able to influence what you're going to do, where you have influence, I think really helps. And also starting to understand when your body and your mind tells you that it's time to slow down, do that.
I had this conversation just yesterday. Yeah. I'm not good at listening.
But your body tells you before it gets to a point of where it's going to get sick, because then it's forcing you to. So doing that is important. And I believe just stop ordering DoorDash. That's what I will tell you nothing against DoorDash. Get out of your house and meet people. And that's what restaurants provide. They don't provide a meal. They actually provide you a space to be with other humans. As far as I remember growing up and hearing from my dad, which he missed with big cities when he moved to New Delhi from a small city in the western border of India, that in the evening, women never made bread at home. They had a communal tandoor where they would bring their dough and they will all chat and
gather.
Exactly. And sitting in front of the TV, you're taking that away from yourself. Put on some pants and shoes and get out and be communal. And that's what helps you slow down. And then put that phone away. Because you have to really realize people who are rich today are the ones that can actually control their attention span, because it's being robbed from us. So force yourself to do that, and you'll actually connect and enjoy and recharge and be ready for the crazy next day where you are meeting customers and debugging bugs or coming with the next $1 billion idea.
But society's working against this concept with DoorDash. With one of the investments that my funds looked at was a robotics in food, high-end food truck with woks that cooks exquisite food. We're not talking about cheap chicken and rice. We're talking really like high-end lobster and scallops as the truck is en route to your home. So it's delivering a very high-end restaurant grade high-end meal, but to your house. And part of me sees the value in that. But then I see the loss of community, because like being at Amara and seeing people celebrating a birthday, people on a date, you're gathering that energy of other people. And I'm like, what's the point in delivering lobster to my house if the kids are out in the backyard on a swing set and the husband's working on, what he's watching a football game? What good is that exquisite meal if you don't have the environment that supports being a community?
So I'll give you a quirky and funny example. Okay. I was watching this movie from the 80s, a rom-com.
Which one?
I'm forgetting. I think it was something with Meg Ryan, I think.
Oh, that could have been 10 different ones.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're watching a rom-com.
I'm watching a rom-com, and I tell my husband, look at their teeth. They're natural. They have flaws. And they all have their own unique faces, because there's something imperfect with their teeth. That's, I think, having flaws even with your food once in a while. I think that's what it is. Not having perfect teeth, but everybody having a little quirk is what's human. And that's what makes your unique smile yours versus a perfectly white, beautiful, big teeth. I think we gotta get away from perfection and realize a meal is not about, some days you want that 3 Michelin star experience, but every day should be more about connecting around the table, around food. And sometimes our customers tell us, you guys always do such a great job. Every time I come in, I have a great meal, and I really laugh because my husband always tells them the same thing. You're not dining with us enough, because we cook plenty of bad meals too. But I think that's what it is to be human, to make mistakes and have flaws and have bad days when you do something not so perfect.
And your husband has a tremendous amount of humility, right? Humor and humility.
It is. Yes.
And both make people more accessible.
Exactly.
So what have you noticed with the way you serve people, building community? Have you started to see that impact how your business cadence is run? By people, friends, groups of friends that all come on Thursday night, or I had one of those groups in Tennessee. Every Thursday night, we went and had dinner together for 2 or 3 years, and it was great to different places. And have you noticed community building around the experience that you curate yet?
A lot. Wow. So one is like formal, that we introduced a membership club, and we're building a community there, and there's a little bit of exclusivity because they get access to these events ahead. As we change the menus, we want to invite them in more, not because it's exclusive, not just because it's exclusive, but we also think that as members, they are rooting for us to be successful. So why don't you get the first taste and give us feedback before you make it available to everyone?
I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but it feels like country clubs have gone, they're not as useful anymore. Yes. I was a member of Silicon Valley Capital Club that was downtown, and it was a great place. Whenever I was out with friends and we'd done something, I didn't have to wait for a table on a Saturday. I could just text them when I got there with my friends. They had the table ready. And it's that experience of knowing I can take people, 2 or 10, but I can take people somewhere, and people are going to greet me by name. People are going to know what I usually have to drink, which is not alcohol. And my guests are going to be made to feel like guests in my home because I come there repeatedly. And so you having a membership club and personalization that I think people are looking for. There's beauty in variety, but I think most of us eat out a lot with work, would rather go somewhere that's familiar. Because I really don't care when I'm eating. I care about how I feel when I walk in the door. And I want my guests who have been here before to have that experience as well.
The thing is, we try to do that with each guest. So how do we make it exclusive?
Okay.
Because I mentioned CRM, and not just that, because our team members stay with us for a long time. So they naturally start to recognize. And then they get asked by name by our guests, hey, can so-and-so be there the day I am there? But so how do we build exclusivity for our members? So we've opened up some other privileges. So for example, one of our he has his own company, and his board meeting was happening on a Monday, and we are closed. And he requested, can I bring my board in? I'm like, oh, we're closed, but I've got to check with the chef. Maybe he'll be okay with that. And chef goes, of course, anything for him. And the chef didn't even know he's part of this membership club, but the fact that he comes there all the time.
Opportunity to take care of someone.
Exactly. So there's that. And then Saffron, our first restaurant, has been around for 20 plus years. We've seen some couples actually propose at the restaurant, then they got married, they had kids, and once the kids were ready to eat out, the kids got a chance to, and these are not Indian families, these are non-Indian families bringing in their 2 years old eating butter chickens. I'm like, wow, I have a kid who loves Indian food now for life. These kids go away to college. When they come back home, their first stop is Saffron.
Oh, I love that.
Because they've been craving.
They've been craving butter chicken or whatever their dish.
And then on the other end, now I can count 3 people that have had Saffron as their last meal. They requested. One meal was actually flown across the country.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So I don't know if it's an honor. It's sad, but it also speaks to
people wanting comfort.
Yes.
So, wanting to lock memories that were built over a lifetime.
Exactly. And then when we were looking to expand, we did look on the East Bay. We went all the way up to Sacramento because people were talking about the opportunities. But we felt that our community was the Bay Area because this is where we raised our families. Our friends live here. Our customers are here who've become, like, some of them have become our best friends. So we just couldn't relate. So we ended up staying here. And now with 3 restaurants, I feel like we're building a community where people are almost saying, hey, do I want North Indian today? No, I think I want Mediterranean, or I want a dosa today. And within our own ecosystem, we built this community where people get a certain feel wherever they go because they know they'll get great food, great service. They know the people that work there. Some of our team members have been there within Saffron from the beginning. So a lot of people don't know us as the owners. They think they are the owners. So it's like that community. I don't know, it's almost gives me goosebumps and like a warm feeling that our customers, the love they've given us, and that's the community. And it's been building for now 2 decades.
I see this need for connection with all the people I'm out a lot. People are seeking, and I've not thought about this, so these words aren't going to be pretty, but people are seeking standardized connection, connections they can count on. I grew up in the South, so in the South, everybody goes to church. But you go to church because that's how you're called, but you also go to church because it's your time of community. And on Sunday mornings, Wednesday night, you can be with your community. And I think that people are going back to those values of needing to be with their community to feed their soul, and you happen to feed them otherwise. I love it. What's your prediction for the next big trend in dining and hospitality?
I feel that we become very performative in terms of how we represent food, and by that Instagram, and it took food to this level of, again, perfection, beauty. And then the first person that went viral, everybody copied them. and took away from being authentic, or is still taking away from being authentic to everything being the same. And this is not just hospitality, it impacts other sectors too. I'm predicting that people are getting tired of that.
Yeah.
And I feel it's going to be, we'll still be on social media presenting what we do, but I think it's going to be more authentic and less on trend versus what I do. And I believe how people will rise above that will be storytelling. Storytelling in every sales has been very important. I believe it's going to get even more important because that's where people will know. Because if I'm doing this, the second person follows the same way of plating, the third person does the same. Where's my unique value then?
But I see that in your social media presence because there is a narrative evolving about the environment, about the place and space that gives to people. So I hadn't considered storytelling to be an element of that. But now that you've said it, I absolutely see it in how you position Amara as a service to others.
So I feel that across hospitality, going back to, instead of trying to be on trend, probably people will go back to why I'm unique. What's my signature in what I do? And I believe that as we shed those fears of COVID and going out becomes more important, which already is becoming, especially for younger generation, I think restaurants will lead the trend for building community because, as you mentioned, country club it's not something that's affordable, approachable for everybody, and it does not provide that short-term ability to gather. So I think restaurants will continue to fill that need and build more around events and bringing entertainment and bringing lectures and different types of experiences.
And as you've demonstrated, you're there to, and this has not come out well either, but you've demonstrated that you're in service to your customers. So when someone wanted to come in on a Monday for a really good reason, you did it. How you've curated menus for different events, it forces us to get out of but I have this. My menu is hamburgers, fries, milkshake. That's what I do. You're being extremely flexible and accommodating. What can we do for you? And I think that's a mindset that will pay dividends for you as you continue to grow. People that know about them.
Thank you. Thanks for noticing that.
Let's do a quick lightning round. I like lightning rounds of being. We can just answer several questions with quick answers. And I think some of the answers become very interesting. So the first question, one Silicon Valley habit. What was the one Silicon Valley habit that you had to reset when you went to hospitality?
I touched on something where I said quick experiments and fail, but I would say my quick experiments and fail were very driven by what my customer needs, not what I feel is needed. So that was a switch. And to be a little bit witty, I had to drop saying all those acronyms.
Oh my. So what she means for those things who aren't necessarily inside the tech machine, everything in the world is a 4-letter acronym. Like we can speak acronym. Or people will say, I'm headed to LAX. We know that's Los Angeles, but other people are like, I'm headed to LAX. Yeah, we speak in our acronyms in tech, so that's pretty funny. That is pretty. What's a dish that instantly resets your mood?
Basmati rice with moong dal always takes me back to, no, just the lentils and rice. Simple lentil and rice, the comfort food that every mom in India cooks. And it might be a little bit varied as you move across different regions within India, but it's always a staple comfort food.
I'm so glad you didn't say biryani. I had a whole team wanted me to love biryani. Good stories, good stories. We talked about a habit you shed when you came into hospitality. I'm glad acronyms was. What's a habit that you think Silicon Valley leaders need to learn from hospitality?
Customer orientation.
But we think we have a lock on that.
I think we need to observe our customers more and
That's good.
not just feel that I'm building this new thing and the customers need it. And especially as tech leaders, we are not just impacting 1 or 10 customers, we're impacting a whole generation of customers. So let's be mindful. Am I building for wealth or am I actually building it for my customers? So what impact is it going to have? Because it's not going to impact just 10 people, it's going to impact the whole society. And don't forget, you are part of society too. So what you are building, it's going to come back and impact your families, the world you live in. So let's be mindful.
Preach. Love it. So I love your wisdom. I love your mindset. Are there any books or podcasts that you really enjoy that you think contributed to how you engage, to who you are?
Multiple things, but I believe I read Brene Brown, her Dare to Lead.
Yeah.
Really helped me shed some of the fears about being
Big fan of
authentic.
Brene.
Yes. What else? I would say some of the science fiction, like the Foundation series.
Oh, interesting. I don't know about the Foundation.
That's Isaac Asimov's book series.
Obviously, I know Isaac Asimov.
Yes, his Foundation series, I go back and read or even listen to it. Because imagining what's happening today back then gives me, because I'm a very imaginative person, but for me, if you can imagine it, it can happen. You can build it. So yeah, I would say it's not really a leadership book, but it does help me expand my mind and be very brave.
I see how it would, right? And that's books transport into new environments, science fiction environments that may not even exist.
That's one of the things. I went back and listened to the first in the series a few weeks back. And of course, they're living in the future and the world is run by science. But one of the things the scientist says is that many thousands of years back, we decided that we've invented everything we need to. So science became unimportant. Makes you feel that how sometimes leaders can shape this because they want people to stagnate and feel that, okay, everything is right. Yes, exactly.
So we have to settle.
And some of those things we are going through right now. So it's very interesting to get that perspective from somebody who wrote that 50, 60 years back.
I think it's important that you're interested with that perspective. Okay, one tough question to end with.
Oh my.
No, it's insightful. It's insightful. If you could reset one decision that you've made in life, what would that be? What would you do over?
I wish I'd done some more resets.
I love that. And I think that's authentic. That was the first thing off the top of my head.
I wish I'd done more resets. But again, I was busy raising children, so I needed more consistency. And I feel resets are like remixes because you learn so much and then you bring that and remix it with what you're learning right now. So it's my fusion in living.
I love it. All right, Reena, where can people learn more about Amara?
Definitely our website, amararestaurants.com, or follow us on Instagram where most of the storytelling is happening. Again, at amararestaurants.com. Or connect with me on LinkedIn, Reena Miglani, and we can have a conversation. And I would invite people to come experience it. Come meet me, come say hello, and experience what we've built.
Your Instagram account, too, for Amara has some beautiful visuals. You've really found, you may be doing these, but if you're not, you've found people that really capture the essence of what it is in your Instagram post. It's just beautiful, and it creates, it's that storytelling that we talked about.
Yeah.
I love it.
Definitely.
Well, so when we finish up an episode, we do this. Give me a heart. Excellent. So we're giving a heart to the audience that's out there on our video. And Reena, you've got so much heart. And I'm so glad we had this time together.
Thank you.
My friendship with you has been so impactful to me over the last 3 years. Things that I've learned, the Band-Aids that you put on my skinned knees.
You both have helped each other get to this remix.
It has been a wonderful journey.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're both right now, we're enjoying There will be more.
Of
There will be
course.
more resets.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to know that people like you are out there to engage with, and you're growing that next generation into the same behaviors.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure. Such a pleasure to be
Pleasure's
with you
mine.
today.
Thank you.
Everyone, this has been Reset with Tonya with the inimitable Reena Miglani on, are you ready for it? KPCRLP 92 FM in Los Gatos and KMRT LP 101.9 FM out of Santa Cruz. And of course, I've already mentioned our newest addition to the family, KBBE LP 91.1 FM from Portland. Everyone, have a marvelous day. Go find your own patch of sunshine while Reena and I enjoy the one here in Los Gatos. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Goodbye. Thanks for joining us on Reset. Remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination. So until next time, keep exploring what's possible. I'm Tonya Long, and this is Home. This is Reset.